Hello, my name's Rachel White, and I'm the founder of HerSong Jacksonville and a licensed mental health counselor. I think we would all agree that human trafficking is a problem across the world. The statistics show us that it's a $159 billion a year industry, and there's more than 29 million slaves in the world today. But I don't think many people are very aware that there is a human trafficking problem right here in our state, right here in our city. In the last several years in Jacksonville, our law enforcement tells us that they have recovered more than 200 women from their traffickers, but they also tell us that they believe that this is maybe only 10% of the real problem. So we know that there are thousands of women out there living under the control of criminals and being sold for a profit. Jacksonville is ranked third out of all the cities in the state of Florida, and Florida is ranked third out of all the states in the U.S. And so we have a human trafficking problem. It is a criminal industry. It is an underground criminal industry based on the principles of supply and demand. And it's important that our community know about this issue so that we can prevent our children from being recruited by these traffickers. The average age of kids being recruited today is somewhere between 12 and 14. Many of these kids are runaways, and we know that within 48 hours that these kids are picked up by traffickers, and they're sold an average of 25 times a day, over and over and over. And no child, no woman should have to endure that kind of abuse. So we must bring awareness to this problem in our community. Victims of human trafficking are really among the most complex victims of crime. These women come to us with all kinds of life-altering issues. Not only have they been victims of violence and experienced multiple traumas, these women have a lot of shame as well. They come oftentimes with addiction, and the drugs and the alcohol are a way that they self-medicate to deal with the pain and the suffering of their existence. The women need medical care. They need dental care. Most of these women are considered homeless. They have no stable housing. So they also have many mental health needs. We at HerSong are looking at ways that we can meet the needs of these women in our community. Over 4 years ago, we began asking the question, who is serving these women when they are recovered by law enforcement? Where do they go? Who helps them? And what we discovered is that there was a huge gap in the services that are available to these women. And that's why HerSong exists, is to fill that gap. The mission of HerSong is to provide healing programs for these women that are victims of human trafficking so that they can experience freedom in every area of their life. We help them get on a pathway to a complete transformation of their lives. We invite them into a community where they are loved and accepted, where they can talk about their issues or their problems, but they can also really begin to dream about their future. The vision of HerSong is to have a 3-phase residential program. 3 phases which would allow the women to come to us right from law enforcement. It would give them a place to rest, to have their physical and medical needs addressed. It would give them a time of reflection. And from there they would move into the long-term residential program. And here is where they would get trauma counseling. They would have intensive case management. They would have the opportunity to further their education, to begin to work on life skills and job skills. And after completion of that program, they would then move into a more independent living situation where there's still some support and still programming, but they're able to work, pay rent, and save for the future. And when women finish that program, they would be then graduating out into the community, ready to give back and to support themselves and support their families. I'm really excited about Parties with a Purpose. This is an opportunity for people all across our community to raise awareness of the human trafficking problem in Jacksonville and really gain an understanding of what it's like for these victims of human trafficking. The Party with a Purpose is an opportunity for people in our community to not only learn more, but to make a difference by helping us create safe housing with programming so these women can heal. So from the HerSong team and from myself, I would like to say thank you for hosting a Party with a Purpose, and I'm really excited to hear about the outcome of your party.
My life before Jesus was a mess. I come from a broken home. My family was separated. We were torn, me and my brother and sisters, from home to home. My dad was sick all my life growing up. I can't remember a time him not being sick, him not dying of cancer. And so our faith was never really strong in my house. Our family just kind of drifted apart till pretty much there was no more family. When my dad passed, left me in a very vulnerable state in my life because he was my best friend and probably the closest person I had to me at the time. Moved away from home, still no kind of love, still no kind of really certainty about my life. Like I just felt incomplete. I had children, my marriage failed because there was nothing holding us together. When me and my husband separated, he took the kids and it crushed me. I was a mom. I was a full-time mom. PTA, I did everything with my kids. So what do you do when your whole life is gone? I was working full-time job. I was doing really good, and I ended up meeting this guy who was going to give me the world. His world ended up being a whole lot different than mine. I was led into a world that no woman should ever have to go into. I was forced into human trafficking, and I was trafficked by the same man for 10 years in the city of Jacksonville. There was a lot of abuse during that time, a lot of things that I didn't want to see that nobody should ever have to go through. I was forced away from my family, away from my children, out of fear of what could possibly happen to them. To this day, my kids and some of my family still don't know my story. For several years, this amazing guy I know, just happens to be a federal investigator, harassed me over and over and over again. I was scared of him because I was taught that law enforcement was bad. That was part of the world that I was in. You don't speak to law enforcement, you don't talk to them. Little did I know this man was going to be what saved my life. I was rescued from a hotel 2 years ago. I was taken from the hotel and something just came over me, and it was just that feeling like now's the time. And when you're just tired of being tired, you go with that now feeling. I'll never forget the day that the agents came to me and told me that they got the indictment, because now I felt like I could breathe. I started to feel this calling. I started to feel my strength coming back, and I started to feel like more of me. And then I realized that it wasn't really much of me at all. My faith was gone. Like I had no faith. So I didn't know where these feelings were coming from, but they were there and I couldn't ignore it. It's like it was impossible to ignore these emotions that I was going through. To have gone through such a horrible time for so long and to be in such a bottom place in life and still feel overwhelmed with joy and just comfort and peace in my heart, it was unexplainable. So I knew it was Jesus. Like it had to be him. He was there. I'll never forget the night that when I was told that the indictment was through and that I was going to be free of this man. I was no longer going to have to be in fear of my life. I was no longer going to have to be in fear of my family's life. The fear was not there anymore. I sat down in the jail cell, one of the lowest places you could possibly be. I sat down on my bed that night and I picked up this little small Bible and I started reading. And I didn't even know what I was reading. I had no clue. But I couldn't stop. I couldn't put it down. And I just remember being so overwhelmed that night and just thinking, I just kept saying thank you. It was like I was stuck in a praise. Like I just kept praising Jesus. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just kept saying thank you. And I felt free. I finally felt free. I was saved in the Jacksonville jailhouse. I said the prayer that I had heard over and over again throughout the years of childhood and growing, just never even knowing who Jesus was, but I had heard that prayer several times. And I just remember sitting there just saying, please forgive me, and just kind of talking and just telling him, I'm going to trust in you now. I'm going to believe in you now. Today I have a great job. I'm able to advocate for women and I'm able to talk about what I went through to help other women come out because I have Jesus. I don't think any woman could get through anything like that if they didn't have God. Her song has been amazing. It's full of amazing, God-loving, God-fearing women, and I couldn't think of a better family and support system. There's never a time that I can't pick up my phone and call Her Song, and they're not there. And not only are they not there, like they're there, and they're willing, and they're eager, and they want to be there. And it's amazing to have that support. I think the one thing that we're lacking here is a safe house, and our mission right now is to get one. There's so much hope out there for these women, and a lot of them just don't know where to go. That's one of the biggest things, is we don't know where to go. We don't have anywhere to go. To have somewhere else to go, to have somewhere to call home and feel safe, would bring a lot more women home.